we just got the update on Draymond.
Yeah.
He's been cleared to participate. Has he done 5-on-5 yet?
Yeah,
or?
today, first time he played 5-on-5. We didn't scrimmage for long, but he did play, and it's good for him to get out there, and great for us to have him back. You know, he just adds such a competitive force to our team, and his IQ just off the charts. So even having him in practice, going through all the drills, you just the team benefits from his presence.
How is he looking, and specifically, how do you think his conditioning is right now?
It was the first scrimmage, so he needs to build his conditioning, his stamina for sure. He looked good out there, but we'll see. I would say questionable on Tuesday, but he needs more work for sure. Remember we had the Rubik's Cube?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
And what'd we call it? Skits and Bits?
Yeah. All right, on to the next one.
Again. All through, the biggest addition, of course, has been Chris, and now sitting 2 days away from opening night. Again, without Draymond, it's hard to get the full clear picture of where everything stands. But just how do you feel that Chris's integration has been? Was it as seamless as you maybe imagined? Was it anything surprising about it?
I've always admired Chris so much from afar for his feel and his brains and his competitiveness. So there's nothing surprising about watching all that up close, wearing a Warriors jersey. I think he has gone out of his way to try to fit into what we do, which is a sign of his respect, for the game and for his teammates. And I feel like the last couple games were good for him, the preseason, just because, he's starting to get more comfortable. I've been telling him too, like we need him to be himself too, not just to blend in with what we do. So it won't be a perfect fit for a little bit of time, because with any new player, it just takes time to incorporate the new player and for the new player to feel comfortable with everything. But the process has been great. We're really on a good trajectory, and couldn't be happier with his progress. And we're going to get to a point where everything's going to be really smooth in terms of lineups and who's playing with whom, and we're not there yet though. That's team wide, but Chris fits into all that, of course.
See, some of the moves that have been made over the summer, and you touched on it a couple of weeks ago, I think, where you said that the West is really strong. What led you to that, and what do you see when you look at the West? I know you worry about your own team, but obviously you know what's out there.
Yeah, if you, I just base it on what I saw last year. Lakers knocked us out of the playoffs. They were really good. Denver won the title. Phoenix is loaded with talent. Sacramento won our division. We just saw San Antonio. We see what Wembanyama can do, and there are other young players complementing him. And I'm leaving out, the Clippers and Memphis, and you should go down the list. The whole conference is deep, and a lot of teams all in to try to win a title. So it'll be very competitive. Trying to think who I left out, because somebody's going to have the bulletin board material, as if they care. OKC, man, how do I leave them out? No, honestly, those guys last year are just a young talent, and they're all going to be a year better. That team's going to be excellent this year.
Steve, Alex Simon from SF Gate. When you get into these days right before the season officially begins, with a veteran team like this, what's, I guess, the thing that you as a coach kind of feel like you don't know about this team yet?
Well, I think every year is unique. So the circumstances this year are that Draymond is just coming back. And so we haven't been able to really get a feel for the mix, starters, bench, who's coming off with whom, all that stuff. So there's still a little bit of uncertainty until Draymond is back for good. And even then, we have to work some more to figure stuff out. I think at this stage of camp, you worry about all the stuff that you haven't gotten in yet, because even though we've been at it for, I guess, almost 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, there's a million things that you need to prepare for. What if, we get at the end of the game, we have to miss a free throw, on purpose to try to get a shot. We haven't worked on that yet. It's 2.5 weeks. We got other stuff that's way more important. And there's, half dozen other things just like that. And every head coach goes through this. You got a list of things you want to go through. You try to get them all in. You get 3/4 of the way, and you can't possibly have the time to do it. And then you're scared to death that scenario is going to come up, and you're not going to be prepared. But it's all part of the early season, and there's going to be some growing pains and some time needed to make sure you're prepared for everything.
Is that fair to say that's the one you're scared of the most?
That's one of them, and there are others. But if you spend all your time on every possible scenario, then you're not getting good at the stuff that actually is very meaningful that you're going to be executing over and over again. So that's the hard part early in the season. You worry about sort of being unprepared for something kind of random.
Given the league's emphasis on keeping an eye on load management and the new rules and everything, you got a bunch of veterans on this team. How challenging, I guess, is it to navigate a season and keep those guys as fresh as possible for the postseason? And I guess part two of that is, how valuable is Rick going to be this year, Rick and his people?
Yeah, we just have to work with the league, know that what the guidelines are, and do what we've always done, which is, if a player is banged up, make sure that that player gets his rest and gets healthy before we throw him out there. But if there's guidelines that we've got to be mindful of, we'll be all over that. Our performance staff will know that, and we'll make sure we're complying with the rules and doing everything we can to put the best product on the floor and get the fans their opportunity to see our guys play. But sometimes Mother Nature takes over and guys are injured and they can't play. So we'll do our very best.
You've alluded a couple of times to some changes you've made in practice from last year to this year, like having pods and no, pods as in like pod groups, coaching groups, not Pajemski. Had to, yeah. What sort of was the motivation for doing that for you?
We're just always trying to be more efficient, coaching is same as playing. If you're not adding to your knowledge, your experience, your practice, then you're not getting better. And we're constantly seeking ways to improve our coaching, and we felt like a handful of changes were necessary. And I'm really excited. We have a great staff. Our guys do an amazing job. They work so hard. They were so well prepared for this season. I was gone obviously for a couple of months, and I came back, and Kenny had done such a great job of organizing the group and really covering our bases and making improvements in the way we do our business. So very, very proud of our staff.
You mentioned Kenny, and you also have mentioned a couple of times in the preseason that you want the defense to get better. When you say that, how much of that how much in the back of your mind are you thinking, okay, it'll get better when Draymond comes back, and how much of it is, no, we need to get better as is?
Both. It's Draymond will automatically make us better because he's Draymond, but that doesn't excuse us from making some of the mistakes we're making, because those mistakes are going to happen whether Draymond is there or not, unless we correct them. So, we're the defending without fouling is a really big deal. We've been kind of up and down with that in the preseason. I think overall our rebounding has been pretty good. But I think I think it was the Sacramento game, gave up 1 offensive board in the first half and 10 in the second. So, like I said, up and down, we need to be more consistent. I didn't think our defense was great in the preseason. It's got to improve, and we'll keep working.